Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Good morning, Cynthia. She says it's cold and expecting our first snow. Oh my goodness. Okay, so today is, I don't even know how many days of Grateful Week. I hope that you had a wonderful Thanksgiving and you got to spend a little bit of extra time with your friends and with your family and with your horses and with your animals over the Thanksgiving holiday. Today's session is going to be about maximizing your online learning, and I've put together some great tips to help you out just to make the most out of your online learning. I asked my Stride students for some tips that they use, and I'm going to be sharing those. So, thank you to all of my Stride students who contributed to that. I have some stories of our students to share, and yeah, so that's the plan for today. Give me a thumbs up if you're here and with us. If you missed any of the other sessions from earlier this week, I'll have my team put that in the chat. But we did a live ride from the barn. I did a live session with my mom on fitness. I did one with Nicole. So we had a bunch of fun things happening throughout the week, just expressing our gratitude to all of you and to our community. We also announced our Dressage for All Youth Fund grant, which I'm super excited about. And Rider Position Blueprint is on sale for 50% off. I know a lot of you have already signed up for Rider Position Blueprint, or you are taking it for the first time. I am going to be doing a live lecture for Rider Position Blueprint tomorrow morning on the basics and just getting you started. So I hope to see you during the live lecture. If you haven't signed up yet for the rider position course and you want to, I'll put the link in the chat. It's a wonderful course all about focusing on your rider position, and it has a ton of rider fitness exercises that go along with it. So if you're feeling like you need to get a little bit back in shape after eating too much turkey and stuffing over the weekend, then definitely check that out. So let's get started with our how to maximize online learning. I was glancing down there at my notes, and it's amazing when you think about it that you can learn to ride over the internet. When I first started doing my YouTube videos, I really had no idea how helpful it would be or how useful it would be or how many riders all over the world that I really could reach and could help through this online training. And what we've discovered, the biggest reason that online learning works is because you're not multitasking. If you're in a lesson and you're riding your horse, your brain is trying to stay balanced with the movement of your horse. You're trying to be in tune with, okay, my horse is looking over there, my horse is distracted, what's going on at the arena next door. So there's a lot of multitasking that your brain is trying to do. Plus, you're also trying to listen to your trainer. Like your trainer is telling you things and you're trying to listen to your trainer in addition to all of that. So that's why sometimes it can feel really overwhelming in a lesson when you're on your horse. And if you have the time off of your horse to go and, watch a video about how to sit in the saddle or watch a video about how to ride a canter transition or a leg yield or whatever, where you can really process that information when you're not on the horse and visualize it, then it can help you so much when you get in the saddle. So let me know who here is surprised about how effective online learning really is, because I definitely am. The other reason that it really helps is because it's very visual. So if you're more of a visual learner, sometimes seeing it, like seeing, okay, correct versus incorrect. I do that a lot in my videos where I, lean forward and pull and look at what happens to my seat and to my horse versus correct. And if you can see that picture, and then also even better, if you can get a little video or a picture of yourself riding so you can see what you're actually doing, then that can go a long way. Now, here's another thing that's wonderful. I guess it's not necessarily online learning, but visualization is really helpful. So for all of us, we have limited time in the saddle. But if when you're going to bed at night, if you can close your eyes and visualize, the perfect canter transition, visualize keeping your butt in the saddle, keeping your hands down, breathing, feeling confident, all of that really does help you for when you do ride your horse and when you do get in the saddle. So there's just so much that you can do when you're off of your horse to really maximize and to make the most out of the time in the saddle, which is what I love about this. And I love that so many of you are here with me live this morning. So if you're just tuning in, good morning. Let's see, we have someone from Thousand Oaks. All right, I'm in Camarillo, California. So I wanted to share with you, first off, a little story of one of our Stride students. Give me a shout out, those of you who are in Stride. Strides is such a special community, and it's my ongoing membership program. We have so much planned for 2026. But we do a member highlight every single month in Strides. And a couple of months ago, we highlighted one of our members, Cindy, and her horse, Zori. And so Zori is a 21-year-old Mustang, which is so cool. And so when in Strides, you can send in videos for review. And Cindy started sending in videos of her and Zori. And I always remember her because she has kind of this funky arena. It's like a funky shape, and it has a tree in the middle of it. And when she first started sending in videos, she really was very new to dressage, and Zori was very stiff and very behind the leg. And little by little, she's been in Strides for a few years now, but we've helped her to get Zori more forward in front of her leg, to get him softer, to get him more supple, to really improve the canter, because his canter was kind of for beat and just not always clean in the rhythm. And it's been so fun to work with Cindy because she's very diligent about filming herself, sending in her videos. We give homework, and then she goes and she does the homework, and then she shares in the Facebook group, and she asks more questions. And I just saw that she started teaching Zori some little half steps, like some little piaffe steps, both from the ground and under saddle. And it's just so cool. It's really cool and special to see someone like Cindy, who rides alone a lot, doesn't have a lot of help, and to see her and her horse blossom. So here's what she says. She says, I would like to say how much I appreciate Strides and the Dressage for All concept. I'm going to sound like a salesperson. I have a backyard horse with a tree in my small arena, a shoestring budget, and really knew very little about dressage. Somehow Amelia have created a supportive environment, and I've felt more than welcomed. I value the friendship I found in my circle as well, and appreciate having others I can talk about my journey. I get a lot of motivation from the Strides program and go out there and ride. With so much negativity on social media, Team Amelia has managed somehow to do things right. So I think that's so cool. And that it really is my mission, is dressage for all, for riders that are, maybe not on the fanciest horse, but the most important thing is that you love riding and you love your horse and you want to learn like Cindy and Zori. So congratulations to Cindy and Zori. Let me move on now to our tips from Stride students. So yesterday I made a post in the Stride Facebook group, and I was like, hey, help me out. I need some tips for how to maximize your online learning. And there were some really, really good ones from our Stride students. So these are, people that have been taking the courses and the programs for a long time and have really found a way to make the programs work for them and to maximize their time, because we're all so busy. There's always a million things going on in your life and a million reasons that it's not a good time or you don't have the time. But bottom line is, I know how passionate you are about your riding and about your horse. And I also know that if it's important to you, you will make the time for it. And it's important to, many of us are givers and we say yes all the time and we want to be there for everyone else. But it's also important to take care of yourself so that you can help other people. And I don't know about you, but I always feel so much better when I go to the barn, when I have a good ride, when I'm able to spend that quality time with my horse. It just puts me in such a better mood. You do not want to be around me when I'm not able to ride or go to the barn. And so it's important to take that space for yourself. And if this is important to you and if it's what floats your boat and makes you happy, then spend the time doing it. So, okay, enough of that. Let me get on to these tips. So Sherry says that she writes down a couple of exercises to work on for a weekly goal. And she watches the videos when she is cooking. So also, if you're watching here live, put in any tips that you have in the chat. So that's a good tip from Shari. AK says, I try to set aside 1 hour a day for learning. That is fantastic. That's a lot of time. She does even more in the winter. It helps me stay consistent. And 1 hour a day when it gets dark early is nothing. I totally agree. It's this time of year when it's literally dark at 5 o'clock. And then you're like, okay, what am I going to do for the next 3 hours? Maybe I should just go to bed. But that's a perfect time to, watch some training videos. I do find that it is helpful if you jot down some notes, because otherwise it's more active learning and you're remembering. And then tomorrow when you go to the barn, you're like, oh yeah, I remember, I've got to try that. Cynthia says she's cooking right now. Okay, good for you, Cynthia. Way to multitask. So this is a tip from Wendy. She says, I watch the content on my desktop computer. Then I go back and pick one or more of the videos to rewatch and study. Each time I watch a video, I pick up on something previously missed and have a greater understanding of the exercises. So that's another huge advantage of online learning, is the repetition of it, right? You can watch the video over and over again, or watch an exercise, go out and try it, figure out like what you did wrong, have some questions, and then come back and rewatch the video again. And that's also, if you are in Strides or one of our programs, you can always ask us questions. Or even if you're not in Amelia's Dressage Club, that's a great resource where you can say, hey, I tried this exercise, I'm having this problem. What suggestions do you have? And we have such an incredible community. I really want to thank all of you that you really do an amazing job of helping each other out in a really positive and constructive way, which is so cool, because we're all riders and we all know how hard this is and how much help you need to problem solve, right? When you're having some kind of an issue with your horse. All right. So Shaughnessy's tip is she multitasks wherever she can. She listens to the podcast when she's driving or cleaning the house. And she also listens to the ride along podcast that I do. So that's a great tip. I also love podcasts because that way, when you're driving or whatever, you can still be learning. And the ride along podcasts they're designed for you to play when you're riding your horse. But why not listen to them when you're not riding your horse and really visualize, like close your eyes, visualize what's your body doing, what's the feeling that you're having, because visualization is so helpful. They've actually done studies that visualizing, it triggers the same neurons in your brain as if you were actually riding. So that's another really fantastic tip. Linda says, I commit to daily, every morning when I'm getting ready, watching and listening to lessons and office hour video reviews. I often play them on my drive to the barn and from my Amelia Newcomb Dressage vest pocket while I'm at the barn. So that's very cute. Linda's playing my voice while she's at the barn with her horse, which I love that. I think that's super cool. You're the best, Linda. Okay, so here's one from Diana. She says, I watch the recordings in the morning while I'm in my bathroom getting ready, doing my hair and makeup for the day with no family interruptions on my cell phone. And then I can still continue to watch the videos while I walk around my house in the morning and feed all of my small indoor pets. I love all this, because when you're horse crazy, I don't know if any of you are horse crazy like I am, but you'll just do anything. Like you're always thinking about riding and your horse and what happened. And so it's great that with technology that we can bring that to you, that we can share this, that we can bring it to the comfort of your home. And it's been so exciting how much technology has progressed even since I started this online learning. When I first started doing the video reviews, which is where you send in your videos, Zoom couldn't play videos. And so it was like, it didn't really work. It was very lurchy and jarring. And now Zoom has made so much progress with their technology that we can really show the videos during the video review sessions, and they're clear enough that you can see and we can point out what's happening. And moving forward, with AI and all of the different video software. It's just so exciting what the future will bring and how much more we'll be able to help you all over the world. So I'm excited about that. Here's what Kathy says. She syncs with a digital calendar, so I'm on top of the lectures are happening. I watch and write notes in a notebook or journal from the platform content. Then I reread them at different points throughout the year. Sometimes I note the way you explain something that creates a light bulb moment. That is a really great tip. And, if you think of riding or learning dressage is like a college course, it's hard, it's complicated, but the more that you study and write things down and think about it, it really does make a difference. It makes a difference for your horse. It makes a difference for the amount of progress that you can make. So that's a great tip from Kathy. Christy says, I listen to the podcast while I'm driving. Callie watches the office hour recordings almost every night when she's fixing dinner, which is wonderful. I usually watch an instruction video right before I go ride because I want it fresh in my 53-year-old brain. Sometimes I'll watch again after I've tried a new exercise or technique. Oh, here's a funny story. So I was teaching a clinic. I think I was in Texas teaching a clinic. And one of my fans came up to me and she was so excited to tell me that she had installed a TV in her arena, like a flat screen TV on the side of her arena. And then while she was riding, she would play my videos, like while she was actually riding her horse. And I was like, that is very cool. That is super funny. So let's see. Niall says, I watch the videos and copy the text into a document. Then I add my own notes and screen grabs. I also include a note from the lecture and the guest lecture. I really wish I could get to all the video review sessions, but I just don't have the time. That's cool. That's very cool. Leslie says, I watch the videos, then ride with the videos in my ear. It helps me to stay focused and I have a plan when I'm in the saddle. Very good tip. Cheryl says, I watch the office hours and lectures while I'm making my breakfast and listen to every podcast while driving 2 hours each way to ride my horse. Oh my gosh, that is a long drive, Cheryl, to ride your horse. I give you a big thumbs up for your commitment there. Sylvia says, I like to video my rides as often as I can and watch when it's fresh in my mind so I can relate to how it felt. That's a really good tip from Sylvia, because sometimes what you feel and what you see are different things. And so having a video where, you can see what's happening, or maybe it felt really good, but maybe your horse wasn't forward enough or your horse wasn't round enough, or vice versa. Maybe it feels terrible and then you see the video and you're like, I shouldn't be so hard on myself. That really doesn't look too bad. Here's a good tip from Marlene. Don't try to do it all. Pick something and focus on those videos. That's a great tip, because I know we have so much content out there. And so sometimes people feel like they need to do everything. And I'm always like, pick a couple exercises and really repeat those exercises and nail them down until you feel sufficient at them before moving on to the next exercise. And it's good sometimes with online learning, it's great to learn ahead of where you are. For example, if you're focusing on training level and first level stuff, it's good to start learning second level. How do you ride shoulder in? How do you ride haunches in? Or even third level, how do you ride a flying change? So that you start to have that idea in your mind. And then that way, when you're ready and your trainer says, okay, ride haunches in or ride shoulder in, you at least have an idea of what you should be doing. So it's good to do both things, certainly focus on these are the exercises that I can do that I need to perfect with my horse. But then it's fun to start thinking about the future, like how do you ride a flying change, all of that. Okay, let's see if there's any from the chat here. Renee says she thought her 35-minute to the barn drive was long. Okay, yes. Cynthia listens to the podcast when mucking stalls. That's awesome. So we have different podcast feeds. So if you are in Strides, there's a special Strides podcast feed that has like all the stride stuff on it. There's also a free public one called Dressage with Amelia that you can subscribe to, which is our Thursday night Q&A that my husband and I do. Although we're thinking about changing that up a little bit for the year ahead. So we'll see what happens with that. And then there's also the Ride Along podcast, which you can purchase like a pack of Ride Along podcasts. And those are more to plug in while you're riding. So there's a lot of different options. Let's see. Oh, you guys like hearing, your horses like hearing my voice. Okay. I enjoy doing the Ride Along podcast. And one thing that I always do in the Ride Along podcast is focus on the basics, like rider position, rhythm, suppleness. That's always, every ride should be focused on the basics, but then also reminding you to like pet your horse, reward your horse, take a deep breath, because I always need those reminders for myself as well. Sometimes when you're riding alone, you start to get a little bit frustrated. So Cindy, the Strides podcast feed is in your Strides content. So if you log into Strides, in the intro section, it will say like podcast, and you just click it and it goes right to your wherever you listen to podcasts. Like if I listen to Apple Podcasts, because I have an iPhone, but it just goes right into that, and it's great, and it's so easy, and it's that way you can listen on the go. So alrighty, some great tips here. I also wanted to remind you, if you're not in Rider Position Blueprint yet, it is 50% off through Wednesday. So make sure to sign up. I'm doing a live lecture in Rider Position Blueprint tomorrow morning, Tuesday at 8 a.m. And if you're wondering what is Rider Position Blueprint, it is my rider position course, but it's a very cool blend of both assessing you in the saddle, helping you to identify exactly what you need to focus on in your rider position. And we help you do that through live coaching. Then giving you all of the frameworks and exercises that you need to do in the saddle. So I teach you my rider position framework, alignment, seat, leg, hand. We go through every detail of your rider position in the saddle. Then the second part of the course is all about rider fitness, which is all about the exact exercises that you need to do to strengthen your riding muscles, to really focus on your core, on your legs, and then helping you to understand how you can really visualize and mimic your rider position out of the saddle, which is so cool and so important. I always, when I'm doing my fitness routine, it directly applies to my riding. So I'm always thinking about the alignment, your shoulder, hip, heel that you have when you're riding, your core, opening through your chest. And then everyone has little asymmetries. So for me, example, my right hip and my right side is a little weaker. So I do a lot of specific fitness exercises to work on that, because I know that it affects how I sit in the saddle. So if you want to really focus on your fitness over the winter, that's a great course for you. You have lifetime access to it. And you also, with the course, there's video reviews, but you have a full year to send in videos. So even if you're not riding a lot right now, I wouldn't let that hold you back. It's a wonderful course. And we have had quite a few students sign up. So I'm looking forward to meeting some of you tomorrow. Let's see. Another question. Are there podcasts that are free included in monthly Strides, or a podcast only for an additional Strides? So if you are in Strides, there are podcasts included in Strides. So in Strides, every month you get one ride along podcast each month. And then we also make all of the live sessions, like the lecture and the video reviews, all go into podcast form, just the audio of it. So that way you can listen to it on the go. So for any of you who are in Strides, we should maybe send out another email. But if you log into your Strides account, in the intro section, there's a section that says like Strides podcast feed. You just simply click that button and it takes you right to the podcast. Because yeah, everyone seems to love our podcast. That seems to be the biggest takeaway from today, is listen to the podcast. So I hope that you enjoyed this, and hopefully you got some tips to really focus on your online learning. It's definitely a great thing to do over the winter months. On those days, I remember when I first moved to California, and here in California, when it rains, they like shut the arenas down. They lock the arenas and you can't do anything. And the first several winters I was here, they would lock the arenas and we couldn't ride for weeks on end. I was like, this is ridiculous. This is so crazy. And so every winter I would get so frustrated and I would think that I should like quit. And I would either decide, okay, I'm going to go back to school and like get my MBA or something, or I'm going to get a different job. I'm going to like work at a restaurant or something because I was just so bored and so frustrated with not being able to ride. So if you need a little boost, and if you're feeling frustrated about the winter, then definitely that's a great time that you can watch some videos, do a little bit of online learning. And yeah, I'm just grateful to all of you for being here and for helping out. So I'm going to get to the rest of my work because I have a pile of work to do. And I do want to get to the barn to ride my horse. But thank you all for being here today. We have one more grateful session tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. And then I do hope to see you guys inside of Rider Position Blueprint. Alrighty, have a great